What's going on, guys? My name's Diggy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have another Madden 20 rebuild for you guys in a realistic fashion, including the 2020 NFL draft class. But before I get into that, I just wanted to say thank you for all the support lately. Make sure you're liking and subscribing on all of the videos. Drop comments, whether you want me to rebuild a specific team or just general, news, notes, whatever you want to talk about surrounding the NFL or even other sports. Drop a comment, talk to me about it. I'd love to hear your input. And I've got another heater for you today. So stay tuned. We're doing the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so we are here post-Super Bowl. The San Francisco 49ers actually beat the Chiefs in this alternate world, 27-21. So I wanted to keep this rebuild as realistic as possible, but it's pretty difficult when, not all the free agents have been updated. Obviously, Todd Gurley is a part of this team now, which everyone knows at this point, but he's not a free agent in the game. So I'm going to try and make things work as best as I can. But in the sense of, true realism, I don't want to, re-sign any guys that the Falcons didn't end up re-signing. Like Austin Hooper would be a guy that I automatically re-signed immediately, but since they didn't give him a new contract, he will not be getting a new contract today from us. Same goes for Devondre Campbell. He's actually a part of the Arizona Cardinals now, which is my favorite team in case you are not aware. But yeah, he won't be getting a new contract. Virtually all these guys that are available here will not be receiving new contracts, mainly because the Falcons chose not to re-sign a lot of their guys, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, with the exception of Austin Hooper, in my opinion, they didn't really have a lot of really retainable assets. Devondre Campbell, you can make the argument for. He had a really good season this year, and I'm happy that the Cardinals signed him. I'm also happy it's only a one-year deal, so it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, I mean, they didn't really go after a lot of guys in free agency. Obviously, with the signing of Todd Gurley kind of after the first couple days of free agency fell through. But yeah, I mean, they also traded for Hayden Hurst, I believe, from the Baltimore Ravens. So that might be a deal that we actually explore here in just a second. But I'm going to try and do my best to move some stuff around and see if we can acquire Todd Gurley in kind of a hackish way in that sense. But I'm going to try and move some stuff around on this roster, and eventually we will see what it looks like. All right, guys, so I managed to throw it all together, and I managed to get the rosters pretty much accurate as I could. Todd Gurley is here after coming over from the Rams. Hayden Hurst is also here coming over from the Ravens. And again, from the Rams, Dante Fowler Jr. is also here, who's actually going to be playing left end for us. So change his position now. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy, to put it simply. I simply just went in and edited their position, made them like a 45 overall, and then traded a 7th round pick for them. There's really no other way to do it other than that to make sure that you get the rosters correct. Now, I can't go in there and put in their extensions and stuff like that. I'm not going to keep that part of it accurate because realistically, we all know that Todd Gurley in this game would never sign a 1 or 2 year deal, whatever it was, with the Falcons, because he's significantly better than that in this game than what he did last season. So in terms of that, in terms of the realism of it, I can't really do the contracts the same, but I can do the players, and that's what I managed to do. I managed to throw them all together into the same team, and we are not going to sign anyone because we don't have any money left, because we took on all of those guys' contracts. But here we are. We are going to download Bengals 2020 NFL draft class. Now, I have a couple other draft classes that I'd like to get around to using eventually one day. Like, there's a Marvel draft class, which is like all the superheroes are like spread amongst a random draft class, which sounds pretty awesome to use for a video idea. Maybe if you guys want to see that, drop a comment, drop a like, say, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I would like to see Clark Kent be the leading quarterback, or whatever you want to see. I'm open to ideas. If you guys have, a draft class that you personally like using, that you would like to see me use, yeah, feel free to drop it in the comments and let me know. But we are here. We've scouted our college guys. Not that we really need to, just because we for the most part know everyone that's about to be in this draft class, but why not show that Chase Young is an unbelievable player? So we're going to sim past this and get to the draft. All right, so we are here at the NFL draft. Draft season is upon us in this fictional world, and the world is going crazy. Where does Joe Burrow land? Where does blah, blah, blah land? We have pick number 16, which which is accurate to real life. The Falcons do indeed have pick number 16 at their disposal. I'm just going to sim right through it. I don't want to trade up in this draft. I'd like to keep it as accurate as I could. And I don't really think the Falcons are in a position to trade up at this point. It's funny because K'Lavon Chaisson's here, and I actually mocked him to go there in my recent mock draft, which is also on my channel in case you haven't checked that out. But now he's kind of not going to be going there, in my opinion. They have Dante Fowler Jr. now and Takk McKinley. They don't really need another edge rusher at this point. So I think something that's really interesting for them is adding another receiver. They lost Mohamed Sanu to the Patriots, obviously, and then they ended up trading that pick that they got from the Patriots to the Ravens for Hayden Hurst, I think that was the pick. I could be wrong, and they could have traded away their own pick, but I'm fairly certain it was the one that the Patriots gave them. So that seems like a good trade for them. But I am actually going to go Henry Ruggs here. And the reason for that is because you have Julio Jones, you have Calvin Ridley. Those guys are deep ball field stretchers. Obviously, they're different receivers in the sense that Calvin Ridley's more of a burner downfield. Julio Jones more physical, obviously one of the best receivers of all time. You could argue, the greatest of his current generation. But yeah, Henry Ruggs brings a different dynamic. I know it says he's a deep threat. He's really a better slot speedster guy, in my opinion. You can see that short route running is a B+. That's what I'm looking for. I need a guy who can catch a quick dump off, give him some open field, and maybe he makes something happen. So I like this pick for the Falcons here. He's a 76 overall, number 16 in the class. We took him with number 16. So here we go. We go on to round 2. And I realize that this class is really deep for receivers. So some of you might be questioning why I did that. Probably wanting to address some of the other holes on this team. But I think it was the right pick. I think it was a smart decision. They definitely need that other dynamic in their offense. And bringing Gurley over is a fun thing, but I just don't know if that's, the solution. I think you just definitely need another receiver behind the big two that you have already. And it brings a fun dynamic to your offense. This pick is going to be actually Austin Jackson or Jordan Brooks. I can't decide because we definitely need offensive line help for sure, but middle linebacker is such a, primo position. And if we take Jordan Brooks here, we can push him outside to right outside linebacker, and he'll fill a huge hole there. So I think he's going to be the pick here. Jordan Brooks, he's a 69 overall, number 92 in the class. We took him at 47. I realize that it's a reach, and there were definitely better players on the board still, but it's a huge position of need. He's going to get bumped out to the outside anyways, so we might as well take him where he is, not let him fall off the board anymore. Jalen Reagor's still available. I mean, that's a fun pick, but I don't think it makes a lot of sense for us after adding Henry Ruggs. So I think the spot here is probably going to be Antoine Winfield Jr. And I know I kind of talked a lot of trash about him in my mocks winners and losers. In my combine winners and losers, I just don't know if his game translates really well to the next level. The receivers are getting bigger and faster every year, and he's really, really small. But he is a ball hawk, so that's pretty fun if you ask me, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem super exciting. But, it is what it is. He's obviously a good enough player that he can make it. He'll probably be a second or third round pick, which is great. That's more than a lot of guys could say. So he's made it to this point. Good on him. Interesting pick here. I mean, Michael Divinity is a really interesting pick. I like his game a lot. Nick Coe is also here, a power rusher out of Auburn. Could slide him inside and play defensive tackle if we want. But I think the pick here is actually going to be Anthony Jennings. I like his game out of Alabama. He's only 21. Even if he takes some time to develop, why not? 68 overall, 109 in the class. We took him at 109, so we couldn't have been more spot on with his value. And he had a hidden development trait, which is huge because we need linebackers that can come in and play now because we have a pretty significant hole there. So I'm very, very pleased with that pick. This is probably going to be the last pick of the draft for me. Jared Pinkney, why not? Backup tight end. We lose Austin Hooper. We bring in Hayden Hurst. Why not add a third guy into the mix? Or a second guy, really, if we want to put him in a higher role. But that's going to be it for me. And I'll see you guys when we're getting ready for the next season. All right, guys. So when I was going over the roster, I kind of noticed that we have a bit of a surplus in terms of our safeties. And I definitely wanted Antoine Winfield Jr. getting some reps. So Devontae Casey was kind of the odd man out. He's 27, and he came into the league a little bit late, and I think he came in when he was 24. So he's just finishing up his rookie contract at 27, turning 28. So we would have to pay him this upcoming offseason. And I don't really feel like doing that for 78 overall with normal development. So we're trading him a 4th this year and a 7th next year for the Dolphins' future first-round pick. I like the deal a lot. We had to get rid of him just to free up some room for Antoine Winfield to do his thing and play actual minutes, meaningful minutes for his progression. So Ricardo Allen's going to slide over to free safety. The reason why I didn't trade Ricardo Allen is because he's 1 year older, but he's got the star development, and we're also paying him more. So I don't want to take on that penalty. So fine, we'll keep him. And we'll move him to the free safety spot. Winfield will take over at strong safety. Desmond Trufant came back off injury. I'm going to move Isaiah Oliver up for sure, just to make sure he's getting reps as well at that cornerback 2 spot. You don't want to waste that star development, obviously. So happy to do that. Deion Jones, obviously, in the middle is a beast. And then we have Anthony Jennings on one side with, I always mess this up, Foyesade Olokun. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his first name. I'm really hoping that it is because it'd be embarrassing if it wasn't, but I tried at least, Got to give me a little bit for the effort there. Yeah, I mean, the rest of this looks pretty good. I definitely want Henry Ruggs in our slot. Yeah, and I think we're ready for the first season here, honestly. I think we're going to get to simming, and we will see you guys at the midseason mark. All right, guys, so we're here at the midseason mark. We are currently 3-4, so not terrible, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Breakout challenge here, I'm assuming for Henry Ruggs, and it is. And as you know, if you have watched the channel before, we don't hop in on those development increase opportunities and stuff like that. I just feel like it's a little bit too cheesy and too easy to just go in there and throw the ball like 7,000 times to one guy and eventually he'll get the yards required. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're not going to do that. So looking at free agency here really quick, not a lot of room to work with. So I'm going to actually rescind my offer to Keanu Neal and then franchise tag him when I have the opportunity. However, we are looking at also Dante Fowler Jr. Now, this is the problem that I kind of was talking about and potentially encountering, was that I wouldn't have control over the contract. So it looks like we'll possibly have to move off of Alex Mack's big contract, even though the trade deadline has already passed. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, Alan Bailey's going to get cut for sure because he's taking up a big portion of cap. But as I was saying, it's kind of tough right now because I don't really have control over the contract. So obviously I'd like to bring back those 2 guys, Keanu Neal and Dante Fowler Jr., but it's going to be really, really difficult. Alex Mack is going to get released here as well. It's purely for cap reasons. We're 3-4. He's not going to be a long-term part of this team. I would have liked to have traded him when I had the opportunity, but I missed the trade deadline, unfortunately. So here we are. This is the new team. James Carpenter is also here. He's got a big old contract for no apparent frickin' reason, which was doled out by this lovely organization not too long ago. But he's taking up a lot of space on our books. Grady Jarrett's got a big contract. Matt Ryan obviously has a big contract. So we're kind of strapped for cash right now, but we're not looking to win right now, are we? We're looking to the future. So we are going to continue to sim. We're on a bit of a losing streak, which is apparent, but here we are. 3-4, we are going to the playoffs. All right, week 17 is done and dusted, and to no surprise, we did not make the playoffs. I don't know how we finished yet. Let's go see that. We went 7-8-1, so not terrible, but pretty lackluster for a team who was in the Super Bowl within the last 5 years, if you ask me. But we're going to spend our Coach XP there, obviously get those guys their dues, and we're going to go right to the offseason. No need to, watch the Super Bowl when we're not involved in it. So we're going right to the offseason. Hopefully those contracts can get negotiated and we have enough cap space to make it work, because obviously I want to bring back Keanu O'Neal at least for 1 year because he's got superstar development now. But Dante Fowler Jr. looks like he'll probably walk, just because we don't have the money to even come close to re-signing him. There's not even really a point of releasing those guys. Keanu O'Neal is going to get the franchise tag. Unfortunately, we have to let Dante Fowler Jr. walk, even though we just acquired him in this most recent free agency. But it is what it is. The Falcons kind of put themselves in this situation with how egregious some of their contracts have been. So, what can you do? Can't save everyone, right? Hayden Hurst looking for a fifth-year option. Why not? He's our starting tight end. We kind of need him around. So, yeah, we're going to do that. I also forgot to show you guys the stats for the previous year, so we're actually going to just go and do those right now. Matt Ryan had a pretty good season. 15 picks is a lot, but 30 touchdowns, 4,444 yards. It's a lot of fours. Todd Gurley, over 1,000 yards rushing, 9 touchdowns. Not terrible, not great. Julio Jones was a beast, almost 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, 903. Henry Ruggs, almost 806. Here we go to the defense. Deion Jones was all over the field, 137 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 1 interception. Really solid season for him and for Olakun, who was right behind him in virtually every statistic. Grady Jarrett only had 5.5 sacks. Takk McKinley only 4.5. Oh my God, what is going on? Okay, well, apparently we can't see the stats for Dante Fowler Jr. because he's already off the team, but I'm assuming he probably didn't have too many. Desmond Trufant led the way with only 2 interceptions. Any defensive touchdowns? No. Yearly awards, I figured we're not going to have a whole lot of guys in here, but why not check anyway? There's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, number 9 in NFC Offensive Player of the Year voting. Defensive Player of the Year voting, we have Deion Jones and Olakun back-to-back at 5 and 6. Offensive Rookie of the Year, we have Henry Ruggs in at number 5. Justin Herbert won it with the Carolina Panthers. Henry Ruggs at number 5. For us, Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Jennings in at number 9 for us. Best Quarterback, no. Any other individual awards? No. So we are all good there. Yeah, we're going to pick up the 5th-year option here depending on who it is. Calvin Ridley, absolutely. We're going to keep him around for as long as we can. Also picking up Hayden Hurst's 5th-year option because he's our only tight end. Okay, so free agency is all done and dusted. Here we go into the 2021 NFL Draft. The first draft with the automated rookies. We pick at number 15. Let's see this team. Let's just check if there's any progression among the troops. All right, so here is the team after the first season. Not a whole lot's changed on the offensive side of the football. In terms of the defensive side of the ball, Olakun went up to star development, which is great. Anthony Jennings had star development. Keanu O'Neal goes up to superstar. Nothing else really of note. We need to address quite a few holes here. I don't want to trade up in this draft. I don't think it's necessary. It's not like we're dying for a quarterback or something like that. Matt Ryan is still hanging in there, so I'm not too concerned about that at this point. We also could potentially look at replacing Ricardo Allen with a free safety, and I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing, even though this offensive line definitely requires some help. You can acquire good offensive linemen late in the draft. So we're going to take Khalid Robinson here. He's a 75 overall, number 10 in the class. We took him at 15. On to the second round pick here. I think that was a great pick for us. We can now honestly look for a trade for Ricardo Allen. If he's an impending free agent, he will 1,000% be traded by the midseason mark. I promise you that. But I'm going to scope the rest of these prospects, and I'll get back to you guys with who we end up picking. All right, so in the second round, I've got a bit of a tough choice here, but I think the logical decision here is to improve the offensive line with best guy available. So Vaughn Herron is going to be the selection here. He's a very, very good right guard. 75 overall, number 8 in the class. We took him at number 47. Clearly just a power guy, but he drastically improves that right side of our offensive line, which desperately needed some attention. And yeah, this entire offensive line needs to be addressed. So we're going to continue the theme here and take Trey Pruitt. He's a right tackle. All right, guys, so I noticed that we still had one really good defensive player on our draft board, so I managed to trade back up into the third round to the Bats, which is formerly the LA Chargers. But we trade a 5th and a 7th this year and a 4th next year for their third round pick. This is purely to draft a defensive tackle if he doesn't go off the board here in the near future. But we're going to sim right to that pick. If not the end of the world. We can always make another selection. But he looked like a pretty solid interior defensive tackle, and he's gone. So that is what it is. I'm going to scout for the rest of these guys, see who the best player available is, and we will take them. All right, so not exactly the pick I wanted, but Javonte Mcintosh, 39th in the class. We took him at 89. He's an interior defensive tackle, clearly a run-stopping guy. I like the pick regardless. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we got some serious offensive line help, which is huge. We managed to move off of a bad contract in Ricardo Allen by drafting a new free safety. And yeah, we also improved the interior of our defense by getting an interior defensive lineman who can really stop the run. So I think all in all, it was a really good draft. We are going to go to the midseason mark after I edit this team, and then I will see you guys there. All right, guys, so here's the team for the second season. Offensive line looks relatively the same, but we implement our 2 new rookies. Herron is going to play center for us, while Jamon Brown is going to stay at right guard. And then Pruitt, our right tackle, is going to stay where he is. In terms of anything else on the offense, there's not really anything new outside of that. For the most part, everyone that was there last year. In terms of the defense, Robinson is going to take over for Ricardo Allen, who will probably either get traded or released by the midseason point. Keanu Neal, Antoine Winfield Jr., fun, strong safety duo. To be perfectly honest with you, I kind of forgot that Keanu Neal was even on this team because he was hurt when I initially checked the roster. So yeah, no, he comes back and gets superstar development, which is awesome to see. Definitely struggling in the department of an edge rusher as well as defensive tackle, but there are still plenty of drafts to work on that. So this is where we sit right now. I don't really have that much more to add other than this is what the specialists will look like. I want Antoine Winfield in the slot because I feel like it would be a good spot for him. And Robinson can't play that because he's our starting free safety. Yeah, so this is what the team looks like. Everything is fairly similar to what it was last year, and we are going to get into the midseason. All right, midseason mark just before the trade deadline, and we are 2-5, so we're struggling mightily, which is not overly surprising, considering that we have a lot of holes on this team. There are quite a bit of issues with what we're looking at here, but getting into re-signing players, Keanu Neal definitely want to give a big old contract extension to. Definitely worth the money. In real life, really struggling with injury concerns. It's tough to see. He's one of my, favorite players. I just like the way he plays the position. And yeah, he's been really struggling with injury and trying to stay on the field. So it's tough to see, but obviously I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope he manages to figure that out. But anyways, back to the rebuild. Ricardo Allen definitely going to trade, or look to trade at least. Olakun here, I really don't want to give him a 4 or 5 year contract. So I'm going to look to go and get him at 2, really boost the money and see if he'll take that. And he does, which is really awesome. Isaiah Oliver also not looking for huge money. So he's going to be 25 next year, 3-year deal before his prime. Like that a lot. And, the rest of these guys are pretty much good to go. I'm going to see if I can make a trade here. It could be a really, really big one, so stay tuned. All right, so this is the massive trade that I was talking about. Now, it's pretty simple. Jamon Brown has a huge contract, and he's only 70 overall at 28, so he was never going to get re-signed by us. Ricardo Allen is very much in the same boat. And Matt Ryan just has one of the largest contracts, and he's regressing and he's getting older, and we simply can't have that. Just for cap flexibility, so we traded it to the Dolphins, pretty much the only team who could afford all those players and their contracts, for their future first-round pick and a fourth-round pick. Now, Russell Gage is also someone who I'd like to bring back on a 2-year deal because he is good as a depth receiver, and he re-signs. And, we're going to get to the end of the season here. Obviously, this team is 2-5 and will definitely not be making the playoffs, considering we just traded away Matt Ryan and we now have Brett Hundley leading the team. But that's why we're looking for quarterbacks in the draft next year. So we are going to sim to the playoffs, and hopefully we get a really high draft pick. All right, guys, so we're back here in Week 17, finishing out the season with a win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, I would assume that is not the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers nonetheless. Finish off the season going 6-10, pretty much exactly what I suspected would happen. Not a very good team. Not a very good team at all. So we're looking at a pretty high draft pick, pretty decent draft pick probably. So I am very much looking at quarterbacks in that high upper echelon of blue chip prospects that we're going to be looking at. Ito Smith still wants a 2-year deal. Why not crank up the salary just a little bit? And he doesn't want to sign. Well, you know what? That's fine. We'll find another backup running back somewhere else. Anyone else in here? Absolutely not. I'm totally fine letting all those guys walk as we head into week 1 of free agency. Now, I don't know. We won't see the implications of our trade just yet because we're still facing the troubles with penalties and all that stuff. But we are going to give the best offer that we humanly can to Jair Alexander. I guarantee you that it's not going to be anywhere near what he's looking for, and we're not going to sign him. But we might as well throw our hand in the proverbial bowl. So why not? Send him a really cheap offer, see what happens. And he has not made a decision yet, obviously, because there's no money on the table. Still hasn't made a decision. Chris Lindstrom contract, you know what? We're going to keep him around for one more year because he's still got star development, if I'm not mistaken. And if this is Caleb McGarry, then definitely not. And it is. And he is not worth extending because he's not even a full-time starter in our rotation at this point. Final week of free agency, and we don't get Jair Alexander. Not surprising. Into the draft we go. Another guy that I'm obviously definitely looking to move off from is potentially Desmond Trufant. I know that his contract is pretty big, so I really want to clear as much cap as I can, just to give us more flexibility to sign free agents, whatever. So let me check that out real quick. Yeah, Desmond Trufant has a banger of a contract. So we are going to be looking to ship him off to whatever team can afford his salary. And we'll get a deal done, and I'll show you guys the end result of that. All right, guys, so I'm just finishing up a trade here to send Desmond Trufant to the Bats, formerly the LA Chargers, as you guys know, as I've already mentioned, because we made a deal with them already. But a third and a fourth next year for a first-round pick, number 9 overall this year. I just want to increase my draft stock as much as I possibly can. We're going to take a look here at this class, see if there's any quarterbacks of value. There is a third-round guy named Walter Florence who is screaming my name right now. That is beautiful because it means I don't have to waste my first-round picks on a stupid quarterback. So this is great news. We are going to go right to our pick at number 9 because there's no reason to trade up any further than we already have. And I'm going to take a look around this board, and I will show you guys the end result of who we take. All right, guys, so here is our first pick of the 2021 NFL Draft. It is Jay Devan, whatever you want to call him. He looks like a van. He's 6'5", 308, benches 40 reps. Dude's a beast. he's going to come in and be our complementary piece to Grady Jarrett. But he is a 76 overall, number 7 in the class. We took him at number 9, hidden development. Love to see it. And then we have another pick right behind it. And I definitely consider these top 2 receivers for sure. Strong safety is definitely not a huge need for us. A lot of really good offensive linemen. But it's definitely going to be Richie Murphy here from FAU. He's a speed rusher. We need edge rushers desperately. He's a 76 overall, number 6 in the class. We took him at number 10. That is a huge addition as well. Now we get someone to complement to Tack McKinley. And yeah, that's great. Fill out a defensive tackle position, fill out an edge rusher position, back to back. Definitely considering running back here late in the first round, just because we lost out on Ito Smith, who left in free agency. Also, definitely considering offensive line, but I think the guy is going to be Ricardo Sheldon here. He is a 74 overall, no development trait, just normal. Number 18 in the class, we took him at 27. Still a good pick for me. I mean, we needed a backup running back. Probably could have signed one in free agency, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm happy to have him locked up for a pretty decent amount of time. So I'm going to continue scouting here, and I'll show you guys the next pick that we end up making. All right, so in the second round with pick number 10, I almost forgot our boy here, Walter Florence, who is going to be our future quarterback. He is A+ throw power, A- throw accuracy middle, and throw accuracy short is B+. Now, he's strong as anything, but he can't move. So, it's going to be interesting. Maybe Matty Ice Jr., 70 overall, hidden development, which is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a learning process for him for a little while, but he looks like a good prospect. I'm really happy to have landed him in the second round and capitalize on the upper echelon talent in the first round that was available to us. But yeah, also, I saw Morris Harvey when I was initially scouting this, and I didn't think he'd be available here. Even in the third round, as he's a 4th round projected guy, but he looks like a solid player. So he's a 72 overall, hidden development, number 24 in the class. We took him at 74. I like that pick a lot. He's clearly got late round value. Yeah, and we need all the edge rushers, speed rushers, inside rushers we can get, so that one works perfectly for me. Going into round 5 here, I'm just going to quickly scout, see if there's any more talent left on this board, and then we'll probably get into next season. All right, guys, so I finished off the rest of the draft on my own. There wasn't really a lot of talent left over. But here's what the team is looking like for the second season. Yeah. So we've got our rookie quarterback, Walter Florence here, rookie out of Wyoming, big arm kind of kid. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he can do. Ricardo Sheldon, backup running back, who we also just drafted. Yeah, I mean, receiving core still looks good. Offensive line is patchy, but still solid. Defense looks absolutely unbelievable. Olakun went up to superstar. Deion Jones stays the same. Jennings is up to a 73 with star. Robinson has superstar this whole time. We got Devon, and then Murphy, our 2 rookies coming off the left side of our defense. And then we signed some younger corner talent in free agency and managed to beef up our secondary a little bit. So I'm really excited about this season, honestly. I think we can kind of surprise people and come out here firing if our rookie quarterback decides to perform. But yeah, I mean, this is looking really solid. I think I like the specialists as they are right now. So we are ready to go into a season here. I am excited. I think we're going to go far. I've said this before, and we've been terrible, so we'll see. All right, guys, so we're here before the trade deadline. I actually took a glance at this. We are leading an absolute miserable NFC South. 2-4-1 is the best record through 7 weeks, so that's really tough to see. Anyways, we're going to get into some re-signing guys here. Grady Jarrett, obviously at a 91 overall, is a must bring back to this team. He is only 29, so we'll sign him to a 3-year deal, push it till he's 33. Calvin Ridley, obviously another guy that I do want to bring back, even though his overall and star development isn't super encouraging. I'm not running this franchise for long enough to really worry about that kind of decision. Charvarius Ward is a guy that we signed in free agency who I'm hoping to have a big season from. I'm comfortable giving him a 1-year deal, but not much more than that. He doesn't care for it. That's fine. Holden Hill is probably going to get a 2-year deal. Look at how much cheaper he is than, a guy like Charvarius Ward. I'm happy to do a deal like that. Trey Herndon's actually a lot more reasonable as well. So I'm going to bump this up for him, and hopefully he comes back on this deal, which means that we don't really have to worry about Charvarius Ward that much, but he doesn't, so we will now. Yeah, I mean, Hayden Hurst, I'm definitely not going to re-sign because he's 29, he's a tight end, and he's only got star development, so I don't see a lot of progression happening there. In terms of the rest of it, I mean, Caleb McGarry could be a guy that we negotiate with when it comes to the end of the season, but I'm not really ready to settle into bed with him just yet, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, we're going to go to the playoffs here. I don't really foresee this being a playoff-bound team, but if the NFC South is as bad as it is, then maybe we are. All right, so Week 17 is all wrapped up, and would you look at that? We are an 8-7-1 wildcard team, led by Walter Florence, our rookie quarterback. So, I mean, some encouragement, definitely, for sure. It's defense is really improving up to an 84, so that's something to look at. We're going to get our QBXP bonus there, so that's huge for his progression. But anyways, wildcard playoff time, 8-7-1 versus 9-6-1. So here we go through the wildcard, and we lose in the first round, 28-17. Walter cannot lead us out of a first round victory. So we are golfing. But we're going to take a look at this team here, see some developments. And Florence has superstar X Factor. This is about to be really fun. So from a 70 overall when we drafted him to a 77 in his first year, that 78 is just 1+ morale, but that'll go away. On the negative side, Julio Jones is really regressing hard. Which is kind of troubling because it'd be nice to have Marshall, throw to a guy like Julio Jones, arguably one of the better receivers of his generation. Todd Gurley's really regressing at this point, down to an 83, which is not something I love to see. Olakun goes up to Superstar X Factor himself. He's up to a 79. And, Deion Jones is still standing tough at 87 with star. Anthony Jennings at 75 with star. Devan and Murphy both have star development, so that's all right. Desperately need corners, like, badly. So I definitely want to try and re-sign some of our guys here, just because that position is just so dry for us. So, yeah, I mean, Charvarius Ward, at least on a 1-year deal, would be ideal. But if not, we can potentially look to franchise tag him. We've got a bunch of money, so $16.4 million is a ton of money. So I don't even want to do that. You know what? I think we're just going to go into free agency and see who's there. You know what? This is the way it's going to be. We've got a lot of money, so we might as well spend it, and not on guys that are barely an improvement to our team. J.J. Watt is here. That'd be super fun to plug him inside to be a rusty tackle for just a season. But Byron Murphy's here, and that's a pretty cool pickup for us if we can manage to land him. I was a big fan of him getting drafted by the Cardinals originally, so obviously a bit of a rough rookie season. But, what corner doesn't struggle a little bit in their rookie season? Yeah, I mean, he's more of a slot guy, but I'm happy to give him that contract. That seems like it makes a lot of sense to me. McCole Hardman's probably a guy I'm also going to offer on, just because, Julio's really declining fast. It might be time to potentially capitalize on Julio's trade prospects, potentially. I mean, it would be shitty to see him leave Atlanta, but, I mean, at some point, the contract's too much, he's not performing enough, and he's out. So maybe we look to explore that if we seek a trade-up opportunity in this upcoming draft. But those are the guys we're going to sign so far. We'll see if we land them, and then we'll reassess after that. But we get Grady Williams, no McCole Hardman, and we get Byron Murphy. So that's great for us. We get some corner help. Also, definitely going to be looking corner this draft because it seems as though the offense has got their stuff figured out for the most part. So that's reassuring in the sense that we've a pretty damn good quarterback under center now. Not that Matty Ice isn't a good quarterback, but I mean, he's not 22 years old, 23 years old with Superstar X Factor. He was like 37 with Superstar and declining rapidly. So here we are at the draft. We have number 11. I think we should have multiple first-round picks if I'm not mistaken. So let's see what we need to address here. Tight end is a big need, as well as offensive line for obvious reasons. Receivers fine for now for at least one more season. Same with running back with Gurley. On to the defense. I mean, the defense looks stacked. Definitely need corners, but other than that, it is super, super solid. I don't know if I've built a better defense than that, even though the overall doesn't necessarily reflect that. But yeah, we've got pick 11 here, which we're going to use, and then pick 21 as well. Very good quarterback here, but definitely not a need that we have. Couple good quarterbacks actually here. But yeah, we're looking more down the road of a corner or offensive line help. Looks like an unbelievable corner here. A press zone cover guy, Alani Jasper. He is 1,000% the selection here. I know he's a projected second-round guy. Probably could have gotten him with my second pick, but when you see a guy that good, you got to capitalize. 75 overall, hidden development. Love to see it. Position of need for sure. So that is addressed, and yeah, I feel really, really good about that pick. He will probably be our feature corner for the upcoming season. And yeah, I mean, what else can we go here? This D tackle looks ridiculously good. Like, ridiculously good. I think he's going to be the pick. He could be the number one player in this class. He's sixth in the class. 21 is where we took him. 77 overall. That guy is a monster. Now we need to start looking at offensive line for sure. Second you get into these second, third, fourth round picks, there's usually those sleeper offensive tackles and stuff like that. Also, we need a huge need at tight end, and that is massive. Matt Sienna is going to be our new tight end. 77 overall. No development trait, but that's okay because we desperately needed to address that position. I figured I was just going to go into free agency and figure it out, but might as well take him while we can. He looks like an unbelievable player. All right, guys, so I'm here in the fourth round, and there's just not a whole lot of talent left on the board, so I've put a bunch of guys on my draft board. The CPU will end up drafting them. We're going to go to the end here, take a look at this new team. I'm really liking it. I think we can afford to move on from Julio Jones, unfortunately, at this point. I think, honestly, we would benefit more from a superior guard or, just offensive linemen in general. So I think potentially a Julio Jones trade is in the works here. He's regressing at a pretty alarming rate, so I think we need to capitalize while his value is still somewhat prevalent. And yeah, even as you can see, there's not a lot of interest from teams around the league to even acquire Julio Jones, which is surprising because he's Julio Jones and everyone should want Julio Jones. So we're going to take a good look at these teams, take a look at their offensive linemen. If I can land a Quentin Nelson, that would be unbelievable. We're definitely going to have to give up some draft picks, but I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to give up a second for him and Julio Jones, and that goes through. Kind of a cheesy trade, not super realistic, but we're into the later stages of this rebuild, and quite honestly, we just need offensive line help. We've got some good receivers. I can add a third one in free agency without any issue, probably a slot guy or something along those lines, and Julio Jones was just getting super old. KJ Hamler's here at 23 years old, and he's a 74. That is beautiful. He's going to slide in right to our slot. Maybe even get a development trait because he's super, super young still. So that's really encouraging to see. All right, so here is the team for the upcoming season. Obviously, the newly acquired Quentin Nelson in exchange for Julio Jones is a pretty significant deal, but massively improves our offensive line from having a fairly significant hole there. And then the defense still looks unbelievable. Got to use a skill point here for Khalid Robinson. But the defense looks sick, just sick. So I'm really excited for this season coming up here. We're going to move Alani Jasper our cornerback up to the number 1 cornerback on the team. I know we have Byron Murphy and stuff and Greedy Williams, but we're going to have Antoine Winfield playing in our slot, so we don't have to worry about a slot receiver, and then we have those 3 guys on the outside, which works perfectly for me. We're going to have Snyder, our first-round pick out of Oregon, rushing the passer over Grady Jarrett, just because I want him to get some snaps even behind Devan. KJ Hamler in the slot. Todd Gurley is still our feature back. And we are going to get into the regular season here. It is 2023. Depending on how this season goes, this will either be the last season or it'll be the second last season. All right, mid-season mark. We are here after a Week 7 loss to the Texans, but we're 4-3. We've got a breakout note here from our defensive coordinator, and it is on Byron Murphy. Richie Murphy. Oh, interesting. Okay. 2 Murphys on the team. Cause for confusion. But yeah, we're kind of okay where we're at right now. We're not out of the race in the NFC South yet. We're only back of the Saints by, a game. So, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I don't want to re-sign anyone in case we make the playoffs. Worst case scenario, we just re-sign everyone in the final window. I know that can get super dicey if not everyone accepts your contracts, and then you got to make tough decisions on who to franchise tag. But that's just the way it goes. I'm hoping that gives this team the confidence to just get into the playoffs so we don't have to worry about it. But it is what it is. We're going to see here in just a second where we end up landing, and hopefully that's in a playoff spot. I'm really hoping. And we are, a first-round bye in the playoffs. Okay. So that is awesome to see. Florence looks like he's got his superstar ability. Snyder's got at least superstar, which is awesome to see as well. So let's take a look at this team here. So Florence is up to 80. He's got his superstar X Factor enabled. Yeah, everything looks pretty much the same on offense. Defensively, Snyder's got superstar, so he moves ahead of Devan, which is... I'm not mad about it. We took him for a reason. We thought he was going to be a beast, and he is. He absolutely is. Yeah, Jasper's 78 overall already at star development. Byron Murphy's up to an 84. This defense looks scary still. It never didn't look scary before the season, but now it's kind of all coming together. Where did we end up here? 11-5 with a first-round bye. So I'm okay with that. Honestly, it is what it is. It maybe shouldn't have been deserving of a first-round bye, but hey, you can't argue with it, can you? Anyways, divisional matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. For those of you who have watched my videos before, I do not hop in the divisional round. So this is entirely up to the sim here. I have no control. Hopefully we get past them, and we don't. We get crushed. 35-10 is the final score. That's really unfortunate because I was kind of hoping that this would be the final season, but we do have a superstar X Factor quarterback. This team is finally starting to come together. I'm going to do one more year, and then we're going to call it a rebuild. Really quickly, going to advance the offseason and stuff like that. Don't need to see the Seattle Seahawks eventually beat the Miami Dolphins in the Super Bowl. And they don't. Okay, never mind. That's kind of embarrassing. But anyways, here we are. Trying to re-sign some guys here. KJ Hamler is one of those guys where I'm super fine. Oh my God, we have a ton of money. Definitely want to give him a 4-year deal. This kicker was lights out for us, I guess, because he had 7 XP go through, which I saw. So we'll re-sign him too, I guess. Deion Jones starting to hit some regression, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we only need him for another year, so why not give him whatever he wants? And he doesn't apparently want to play with us, so we're going to franchise tag him. Todd Gurley, he's going to be the face of this video, so we have to re-sign him. Just give him that. He's not going to take that, which is kind of problematic, but whatever. It is what it is. He hasn't been that great for us anyways. He's still going to be the title of this video. He's just not going to be as good as I thought he would probably be in this rebuild, but I guess they took down his stats after they realized that he was trash this last season, so whatever. That's fine with me. We're just kind of spamming money here, to be perfectly honest, and it's because we have to literally re-sign everyone on the team all at once. So that's why we had so much money in the start. Yeah, we're making sure we're getting through our guys here and giving them reasonable contracts and making sure they all come back and are happy. Yeah, I mean this is a super long process, and I apologize for having it be this long, but we do have to make sure if we're going to do one more year that everyone comes back. So this is what is happening. I'm going to skip to the end of this, make sure we try and re-sign all of our guys, and then I will see you guys at actual free agency and the draft. Okay, so here we are in free agency. I managed to get everyone back except for Matthews. Jake Matthews, our left tackle, didn't want to come back, so that's fine with me. Looking at free agency here, I mean, it's tough to see that the top two guys are defensive tackles at the position where we're great in, but there is also this guy who's just sitting out here as an auto-generated guy who's an 81 or 82 right tackle, so we're going to throw the bag at him because why not? And Calvin Ridley went up to superstar, which is awesome. Henry Ruggs is still at an 83 with star, but why not add Jalen Reagor? We could have added him in the draft, but we didn't. KJ Hamler's still there. Why not re-sign Todd Gurley too? He's the face of the video. I don't know if he'll get a better deal than what I'm about to offer him, so why not? We kind of got to. He's the face of this rebuild. So Shaheem Carter is here as well, who looks like an absolute tank, but we don't really need him. We have Robinson, and we have our boy Keanu Neal. So Julio Jones is back in free agency. So he's 35 now, though. So that's kind of a lot. Wow, a really, really, really good right outside linebacker here, Denzel Watts, who I absolutely want to bring in and probably have him play over Olakun, if I'm being honest. Albert O, that would be a huge addition to this team as well, because obviously we drafted our tight end last year, but Albert O's still pretty young and he's got star development, so you never know with a guy like that. But we're going to make sure to give him a nice chunk of salary here. I'm just kind of spamming money everywhere. We have the ability to do it. We got off some of those really bad early contracts. We have a lot of flexibility here, so why not splurge and get ourselves some damn good players and make this team an absolute powerhouse. So Gurley accepts, Marco Wilson, Jalen Reagor decline, Albert O, Adams, and Watts all accept, which is huge because, this team's about to be insanely good. Like, insanely good. Fifth-year options doesn't really matter, but why not? Khalid Robinson, he's sick, so absolutely I do. He is a absolute beast at safety, so why not? Yeah, there's no other one, so that works perfectly for me because I really didn't want to do it anyways. And on to the draft. Probably the most least important draft I've ever done in a rebuild because this team is about to be insane. Definitely want to show you guys this team before we get into the draft, though. Newly acquired right tackle Trey Adams is going to play left tackle for us. Chris Lindstrom is definitely the lackluster piece of this offensive line, even though he's still not bad and pretty young. Albert O is going to get the start for sure over Sienna here. But he's currently playing fullback, so I'll make sure to draft a fullback. Todd Gurley, face of the video, still here at an 81 overall, regressing at an alarming rate, but whatever, it is what it is. He's fine. And then, this defense looks sickeningly good. Olakun is still here, but I really want the young guys, Watts and Jennings, starting over him, even though, he's got superstar X Factor and stuff. He's still really old, so it is what it is. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. But this defense looks gross. Absolutely gross. So, and there's an incredible right guard here, as well as a very, very, very good right tackle. And Ronnie McGahee is probably going to be the pick here. 76 overall, number 6 in the class. We took him at 26. That is beautiful. He's going to slide into that right guard spot perfectly. His overall is going to go up. He's significantly younger than Lindstrom. That just screams a win for us. I doubt there's going to be much corners in terms of talent left, but we'll check them out really quick here. Why not? I don't have any of them scouted, so that's kind of annoying. But yeah, you know what? Maybe we turn around and make a trade. I'm just going to sim to the end of this draft here. I'm actually going to take a fullback really quick just for shits and gigs. This is the defense as well. Don't forget Olakun was superstar X Factor down there. I mean, this defense is nasty. The offense is gross too. Like, let's just go. I'm tired of this. I want to win. Spend some coach XP at the very last second. Throw it Albert O's way. See if he can have a beastly Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz kind of year. But we're going right to the playoffs here. No point re-signing anyone. This is the last year no matter what. Yeah, no re-signing, none of that. No trades are going to be made. This team looks sick. There's no way that we shouldn't make the playoffs, in my opinion, unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong. But I can't imagine that being the case. So really, really hoping that this is the year that we make it in the playoffs, make it through those first couple of games, and we just play in a Super Bowl. It would be the second Super Bowl on the channel if it is the case. And yeah, I mean, why not? Why not make it with the Todd Gurley led Atlanta Falcons? Sounds a little bit weird, but not really. Week 17 into the playoffs, and we don't even make the playoffs. Amazing. I love this game. Yeah, I mean that's just Madden for you, baby. We clearly put together a beast of a team, and Madden just doesn't acknowledge that. They just don't care. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna check out the final team once I sim to the Super Bowl here. Kind of a huge bummer that we didn't even make the playoffs in the final season. Like, if we had made it and then got beat, then I'd kind of understand it. But we didn't even do that. So I don't know what the heck's going on. But let's take a final look at this team here. 85 overall, 85 offense, 87 defense. Superstar X Factor drafted quarterback. Couple of a superstar lineman, superstar receiver. Good tight ends. Receiver depth, running backs were a little lackluster, but, had to keep Gurley for the video. Linebackers, secondary looks solid. Interior and exterior edge rush looks great. This team should not be not making the playoffs, but it is what it is. There's not much I can do about the Madden sim. I feel like I built a great team. We're going to sim past the Super Bowl here. Bengals, Rams in the Super Bowl. Todd Gurley's ex-team. And do they finally come out on top? And they don't. They lose 28-21 to what I assume is the Joe Burrow-led Bengals. In that case, congrats to them. Job well done on the rebuild. But that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're leaving a like on the video and subscribing as well. Drop a comment. Ask me, whatever you want. Tell me who you want me to rebuild next. Whether you want me to post another mock draft or just more news on free agency, whatever you want to see, let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. Have a good one. Stay safe. Peace.